What is trust? Is it something that can be quantified? Is it the same for everyone? And why is it a thing? I'm thinking about this because it is interesting for me how some people are pretty much immediately more trustworthy than others. I was just thinking about it recently as I met new people and how some people you immediately almost click with, and others it takes a bit more time and you're a bit wary of. Why is this? Why do we inherently trust some people more than other people? Is it because they're similar to us? Is it because they share the same sort of characteristics? They like the same activities? Or is it because, I don't know, they're a similar height? Or they live in the same place? They speak the same language? What is it? What is it that makes us trust other people? What makes people trustworthy? I think that is the main question I want to drill down into. In preparing for this episode, I did a little bit of research on the general academic literature that surrounds this sort of topic of trustworthiness and trust in general. And the academic literature tells us that trustworthy people have 7 key characteristics. And what are these? So, if you are trustworthy, or if someone is trustworthy, according to academic literature in this area, they should be authentic, consistent, have integrity, compassionate, connectors, humble, and available. So I'm just going to run through all of these real quick and just tell you what the academics think they mean. So authentic, obviously meaning that a person or one is true to themselves. Consistent, obviously they do the same thing each time. They're not changing their ways for other people. Have integrity means they're backing their choices. They're staying true to who they are. Compassionate, they show other people love and respect. Connectors, which was an interesting one in this, what they're saying that it means is that they're always wanting to connect with other people, to grow alongside with other people, and to reach out and enjoy new experiences with other people. So it's all to do with more social side. Humble, obviously not boasting and being true to yourself, staying low, respectable. Available, which was an interesting one. I'm not 100% sure why that was in there. I did a bit of further research into why being available makes you trustworthy. But essentially, it's that you're not hiding anything. You're more transparent than other people, and that people know you are free and able to talk to you instead of you're hidden behind some sort of facade. But at the end of the day, like, if you're available, does that really make you trustworthy? I think if you have planned time, I think that's a bit more trustworthy. Anyway, I'm going a bit off topic there, but that's what the academics think, the 7 key points of being trustworthy. So the academics tell us, they can tell us anything, really. Academics can tell us anything. But in reality, it's a whole different story. I mean, I'm at university at the moment, and stuff we're learning, all these academic papers, is absolute whack some of the times. We're learning about how in a world with no taxes, perfect capital markets, all of these assumptions, like tens of assumptions, hundreds of assumptions. And if all of that holds, then we can do that and that will be okay. Like, that does not happen in the real world. Obviously, models are there to help us make sense of the real world, but in reality, it's a whole different ballgame. So in reality, we are not evaluating all of these dimensions. We're not evaluating these 7 dimensions as soon as we meet someone. So what's going on? So you don't meet someone, say I meet someone on the street, or I'm in a work party, work networking, and I meet them. I'm immediately running through, are they authentic? Are they consistent? Do they have integrity? Are they compassionate? Are they connectors? Are they humble? Are they available? How on earth am I going to know that from just looking at them or from the initial conversation? I can maybe tell 2 or 3 of them. I can maybe tell if they're humble from their first few words. I highly doubt I can tell the rest of them. That's for sure. And I think about it in my daily life. Who do I trust and why do I trust them? So out of the new people I meet, as I said before, why do I trust them? And I think for me, instead of these 7 sort of key principles that the academics are saying, I think for me it's more of one sort of holistic principle, like the more holistic view of themselves. So the general view of how these people are behaving. And I think it's, for me, those people who are natural. And you can tell they have not changed themselves for you and are always like that. And I think natural sums up all of these academic dimensions as well. Natural as in, if we go through authentic, you're also natural. If you're consistent, you're also somewhat natural because you're always doing that and you're not changing yourself. Integrity, you're natural because you're not putting on a facade and faking yourself, saying you stand up for something when you actually don't. Compassionate, natural. It's a natural human instinct for the majority of people to be compassionate. Natural for humans to be connectors. We're social creatures after all. Natural for humans to be humble somewhat. That's a potential slight change in the academic literature. And I think it's also natural to be transparent and not be lying all of the time. Unfortunately, in modern society and everything, you've got all of these corporations lying all the time. But we're going to try and ignore that and say for the majority of people, they do try and be transparent and don't try and lie in your face. So this also leads to another question that I was thinking about recently as well. First impressions, do they matter? What are first impressions? Why do we immediately evaluate someone? And I suppose when you think about it, it comes down to these primal, natural instincts of you sizing up someone you meet, making sure whether they're a friend or a foe, that primal thing of making sure whether someone is safe or not. Back in the day, thousands of years ago, when you meet someone, are they going to kill you? Are they going to try and join your tribe? Blah, blah, blah. But how can we tell if people are natural? This, I think, is where gut feelings come in. This is where one's gut feeling really kicks in. We can tell if others are natural. We immediately feel it. What do I mean by that? Obviously, I don't think you can really quantify gut feelings or trustworthiness. And I think trustworthiness is not standard thing. It's not like a function. I don't think it could be put in an equation or anything mathematical, obviously without hundreds of assumptions. But in reality, trustworthiness is different for different people. If you're brought up in a different culture or the person you are yourself, you're going to have different levels of trustworthiness with different types of people. Someone who I find incredibly trustworthy may be very untrustworthy for you. And I think it's very different. And obviously, that's how society works as a whole, because I don't think we find everyone trustworthy. The majority of people we do, but we don't find everyone trustworthy. But people we do find trustworthy may find the other people that we find untrustworthy trustworthy. So it sort of completes the loop. And hopefully, that's how stuff like wars don't break out. But unfortunately, wars are obviously a thing in the world. So something is going wrong with trustworthiness in that sense. And do we need to tell? Do we need to tell if other people are natural? Do we need to tell if other people are trustworthy? I think life is full of people who can boost or hold you back. So from a personal development and mental health standpoint, which is what this podcast is obviously all about, I think telling if someone is trustworthy instantly, maybe not instantly, but forming an initial impression which can be molded, which you're open to change. That's the most important thing. You're open to change your mind about someone. I don't think you can truly tell if someone is immediately trustworthy within the first minute of meeting them. But it's natural. If you think about the next time you meet someone, you do get a gut feeling within the first minute, within the first 5 seconds, if someone's trustworthy or not. So, do we need to tell? Life is full of people who can boost or hold you back. And I'd like to think the majority of people are there to boost you and maybe not boost, but at least stand by you for a bit. And therefore, I try to be as open as possible to new people and really try to see where their energy is. So I try to see whether they're really going to try and boost me and whether I can boost them and whether we can sort of grow together and have a good, long lasting friendship. Unfortunately, as I said, the majority of people are hopefully there to stand by you or boost you, but there are people who will try and hold you back and drag you down. And these are the untrustworthy people. And can we tell they're untrustworthy as soon as we meet them? No, I don't think so. Because otherwise, stabbing in the backstabbing would not be a thing at all. Unfortunately, and of course, backstabbing is a thing. It's a massive thing. People committing adultery, people cheating on other people ruining their business partners, blah, blah, blah. Hundreds of examples of people going behind the other person's back and stabbing them and getting what they want. And I think, unfortunately, that comes down to one's selfish desire being more powerful than their friendship together, which is unfortunate. And I think that does come down to a lack of trust between the two individuals. When you think the trust may have been good right at the start, it can fade. And I think it's important to keep building that trust and keep that trust strong. Just my thoughts in terms of what I've experienced so far, especially at university where you meet so many new people. It's probably arguably one of the times in your life where you meet the most people that fast, as in meeting like hundreds of people within the first week of university at Freshers Week, for example. So trust is the most important thing, I believe, in any relationship and in life in general. You can trust yourself as well. It's very important too. Trust is what allows individuals to scratch other people's backs. So as in you scratch mine, I'll scratch yours. And mutual exchange, it's the basis for mutual exchange. And mutual exchange is how we as a civilization, as a society have grown. If we didn't have mutual exchange, if we weren't able to trust one another, we'd each be in our individual huts in a forest fighting each other constantly. No cities would be built, no businesses would be built, no genuine friendships would be formed if it weren't for trust. So therefore, I really do believe trust is one of the most important things we have in our lives, in the universe. How does this link to personal development? We have to make sure that we are trustworthy within ourselves. This doesn't mean always being sensible or anything like that. Quite the opposite, actually. I'd like to think that being trustworthy with yourself means that you are natural with yourself and you are not putting a mask on all the time, as well as staying true to yourself and following what you want to do. If you want to party, go and party. But if you're telling yourself you're not partying and then you are partying or something like that, then it's going to create sort of friction in your mind. If you're going to go all out, go all out. Work hard, play hard, that sort of thing. Just follow through your actions. That's what I've been trying to do because I was a massive sort of not victim. I suppose I followed that where I would almost lie to myself and say, oh, I'm going to do this. But I knew in reality I was never going to do that. But now I really try and follow through with my actions, keep going and push through with what I believe in now. So I'm trying to be more trustworthy with myself. And I hope you, maybe with inspiration from this episode, can try and do that as well. I'm going to wrap up now, though. Thank you so much for listening. So much for listening to today's episode of the ManageMe podcast. If you enjoyed it, if you got anything out of it, even literally like a second bite of knowledge, please do share it. Please do give it a rating. And please do follow the podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. It's on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, loads of platforms now. And we're really trying to go big. We've got 3 or 4 guests lined up, actual guests with interviews for the next few episodes. So I really do hope you enjoy those. And I cannot wait to see you next time. Thank you.